Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. We are covering the South African Open Chess Championship. Now, obviously, I played in this event last year in 2025. I was unable to do so this year, just because it would have been really, really expensive to travel down to Cape Town. Last year it was held in Johannesburg, but I was not able to get down to Cape Town this year to play it. It looked a phenomenal event. Obviously, very different because some of the guys, particularly in the section I would have played in, that were in the event last year, were local. So they also didn't make it down to Cape Town. So vastly different field, but we still had some of the big names in the open section and in the ladies section. They got down there and they were working really well, and they performed really, really well. Obviously, James Dinham, after the African Individual Chess Championship, where he played relatively well, he returned to try and defend his title. He won the title last year in 2025, so he was there in the open section. Now, just as a cool thing, it was on Lee Chess. There were several games. They were obviously using DGT boards, and they had the ladies section, but they also had the championship section, or the A section, where James would have been, and they would have had the advanced section, where I would have been playing had I gone to the event. So you can go check. I don't know how many boards they actually had. So they only had, you can see here, 2 for the advanced section, so the top 2 boards. For the ladies, they would have had, they had 2 as well. I don't know if they had more come round 9. Did they have more come round 9? They did. They had up to 4 for them, and then in the championship section, they had, what's this, 8 boards in round 1, and how many boards by round 9? Still 8? No, 10 boards, the top 10 boards for all these guys. And so, there were some stories that we need to talk about. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. So one of the stories was obviously James Dinham. He's made it down to Cape Town. He obviously is a phenomenal player, and he would have been looking to retain his title. So, we're going to go through the results. We're going to start off in a really weird place. We're going to start off in the advanced section. And the reason we're doing this is because this is the event I would have played. Now, the advanced section was won by Mlukane Hlawatso. I'm horrible with names, guys. Please forgive me. But what's interesting is I don't know how many of these players played in last year's equivalent of this section. I think we were A section or whatever, B section or something like that. There was a candidate master in the section, Paul Chiwame from Malawi. Why was he in this section? I've got no idea. It's because his rating is like 1691. So yeah, his rating international is 1691, and he's 1750 in terms of a national rating. I don't know how old he is. We're going to check now. It's not to ridicule him, it's just really interesting. Okay, 1978, so he's a bit older. And he had an interesting event. It seemed to have struggled just a wee bit. He picked up 5 points. He only lost 4 FIDE rating points, but he might be losing a few more national rating points. So that was just something interesting. He was the 9th seed, and he finished 31st. Yeah, so, I mean, if you're looking at the top seeds, none of them really doing much. So the 4th seed finished 2nd, and the 7th seed finished 5th. But otherwise, all of the top guys, it was... Rating doesn't mean anything in this section. Everyone is really close. Skill levels vary quite a bit. So you can see like the 16th seed wins the event. The 63rd seed, Asani Nkabo, finishes 3rd. So absolutely incredible. Obviously, it's a mostly South African. There was a guy from Zambia over there. Obviously, the Malawian. This guy's FIDE, Ronald Chikawa. RSA, all the way down. Only 94 players playing. And some of them not playing, you can see all the rounds. Yeah, but now we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the ladies section, and we're going to go to the image because the ladies section was won by Imkhitha Joya. She won a rating of 1769. She finished with 8 points out of 9. Really, really dominant performance from her. In terms of now, if we click on the standings, getting there, and we want the ranking list after 9 rounds. You can see Imkhitha Joya winning. And some of the ladies you would be expecting not making it back. So some of them were, of course, maybe didn't want to rush getting back from the African Individual Chess Championship. So ladies like Hayley Nell and Claire Brandhorst would probably have played this event had they not been in Botswana, because the time between these events was not much. So the fact that James got back, and you'll see how he performed, really, really top marks from him. So not as maybe a stronger field as there could have been. We had 20 players playing, some very experienced players. Of course, if you want to see any of the photos, any of the stories, they were recording videos with every day. please, if you go onto Facebook and you find Chess South Africa, they've put it all there. Great stories. So here was the opening move. They've got photos. They're obviously busy with stuff now, and so on and so forth. They've got, photos from all the days. If you continue scrolling towards the latter part of the events, they have videos catching up with some of the players. So this is at round 8. Master Tyler Nevin. They start, talking about some of the players' stories. Here is Sisakela Mnyango, the 2025 Open champion. So she was obviously playing this event, and she did it right. She finishes 4th. She was the top seed with a rating of 1897, but obviously not retaining her title. But the fact that she finished 4th, not bad. She is losing some rating points. I mean, Imkhitha Joya, who was the 2nd seed, a phenomenal event from her. Absolutely phenomenal event from her to win the title. And look, some of the big hitters missing, but you've got to win. You've got to win the games in front of you. And so now we go to the Open checks in the championship section, which is always really, really cool. So this is how they lined up. You can see James, although he's the reigning champion, he was only the 4th seed. But we still have some really big hitters at the top. We have Charlton Mnyasta, we have Kelvin John Klaassen, who of course played the SA Closed at the beginning of the year, trying to get spots for to be going to the Olympiad. We've got some really top players, in the section. It is a bigger section, probably than most would have expected. There are 45 players that qualified to be in it. There's a junior master, there's a provincial master, junior masters, so a couple of, local titles. We had a Canada master here as well, Peter Nathan. He's a really good player from his province. Made it up to Joburg last year, obviously makes it down this year to go that side. And so it's a really strong section. And in the end, it was won by this man, Charlton Mnyasta. 7 out of 9, so not as strong as Imkhitha, but, his rating 2206. Really strong performance from him. He is the South African Open winner. He is the reigning champion of South African chess. If we look at how he did it, and we get the details after 9 rounds, you can see there, James Didham finishing 14th. He struggled. I will give it to James. He did his absolute best, but it was not to be. You can see there was a tie at the top. Charlton Mnyasta, 7 points, wins on the second tiebreak, because obviously they didn't play each other. Tenzino Mnyasta, who I assume is a sibling, potentially. I'm not confident of that answer. Finishing second, also on 7 points, not having as good a second tiebreak score. Then 6.5 points, third to fifth, with Mafiti Rogov, who was the top seed. Kelvin John Klaassen having a good event, finishing 4th. He was the 3rd seed. The 5th seed stayed exactly where they were, and so did the 6th seed. In terms of that guy I mentioned earlier, Peter Nathan, he struggled. He was the 15th seed. He finishes 26th. So some interesting games. Probably the story of the tournament was this guy, Resseltane, who finishes 5.5 after 9 rounds, so +2. He was the 28th seed, finishing 7th. And then this one, Luke Bell, who was the 41st seed, 1800 in a section, filled with giants. He finishes 9th. A really strong performance from him. And so this was the South African Open. James finishing 2 whole points behind the winners, and having probably not his best event, but considering he just come off the African Individual Chess Championship, and a few days later he was playing this. Lots of chess, travel and everything. Credits to him for playing this event, and he didn't do badly. He seems to be decent nick going into the Olympiad, and we're hoping that Team South Africa will be doing quite strong come that Olympiad. I don't think there's any major tournaments that are happening between now and the Olympiad in terms of South African chess that I'm aware of. There are obviously little tournaments. I might be playing a tournament before then, so fingers crossed. But yeah, credits to our 2 winners, Imkhitha Joya, the ladies winner, and of course the Open winner, Charlton Mnyasta. You can go check out some of the games that they were covered on the South African Open Chess Championship. You can go and find some of them. There was an interesting 4th round game, I think, between James Didham and Kelvin John that they played out. If I can just... can I just click on the results so we can see all the things? It was a Sicilian defense from James. He does like it. Yeah, so I can turn on results. James losing in the final round. Maybe just a bit of fatigue, I think, by the end of it. He had quite a tournament. He was in rough contention, but I think he wasn't able to retain his title with 2 rounds. I think it was possible for him to win. So, he was never completely in it. Yeah, and I realized half the screen has been cut while I've been zooming through these moves. But yeah, that was the South African Open for it seems like it was a really well organized event. It was a really cool event to be a part of. Cape Town does do these things. Cape Town's also put in a bid, which I'll talk about later, to try and host the first Olympiad in Africa for chess. So that's really, really cool. They're hosting a big tournament now in Stellenbosch and Cape Town as well. Something with schools and school players. So that looks really cool as well. So South African chess is getting really, really big, and I'm happy to be a part of it. It looks really cool. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.